You know that feeling when your whole world shatters into a million pieces, and you're left standing there, holding the sharp edges, not knowing which one will cut you deeper. That was me, exactly 1 year ago. I was sitting on the floor of our apartment, God. I still can't get used to saying why, surrounded by boxes, staring at a single photo. It was us at the beach, laughing, the sun in our hair. The kind of happiness that felt like it would last forever. And in that moment, I realized, forever had just ended. I never thought it would happen to me. We were the couple everyone pointed to and said, "Look, that's what real love looks like." We had the kind of relationship people write songs about, the late night talks, the inside jokes, the way we could finish each other's sentences. I used to joke that we were two halves of the same crazy soul, and then, one day, that soul just split in two. It didn't happen overnight. That's the thing most people don't understand. Breakups aren't like a light switch, they're more like a slow leak. At first, you don't even notice the damage. You just feel a little colder, a little more distant. You tell yourself it's nothing, just a rough patch. But then one morning you wake up and realize you've been sleeping in the same bed for months, but you've never felt more alone. The signs were there, if I'd only been brave enough to see them. The way their laughter became rarer, the way their eyes would drift away when I spoke. The silence that used to feel comfortable now felt heavy, like a wet blanket draped over everything we once shared. I tried to fix it. God, I tried so hard. I read books. I suggested counseling. I even planned a surprise weekend away. But love isn't a broken appliance you can just tinker with until it works again. Sometimes, no matter how much you want to believe in miracles, the pieces just don't fit together anymore. The day it ended, I remember every detail. It was a Tuesday. Tuesdays were always our grocery day. We'd go to the market together, pick out weird vegetables we'd never tried, and plan a fancy dinner. But that Tuesday, they stopped midway through the produce section, put down the basket, and said, "I can't do this anymore." Just like that. No warning. No grand speech. Just 6 words that tore my reality in half. I stood there, clutch packed with organic kale, and felt the ground disappear beneath me. People were shopping around us, laughing, choosing avocados, completely unaware that someone's entire universe had just collapsed in the middle of the broccoli display. I wanted to scream, to beg, to do anything to make them take those words back. But I just stood there, frozen, while they walked away. The days that followed were a blur. I moved through my apartment like a ghost, touching things we'd touched together, smelling their pillow, replaying every moment in my head, searching for the exact second everything went wrong. I lost track of time. I forgot to eat. I'd catch myself staring at my phone, waiting for a message that would never come. And then came the waves. Not sadness, not at first. Anger. Pure, blinding rage. How dare they leave? How dare they take away the future we'd planned? I'd find myself screaming into pillows, punching walls, driving aimlessly, just to feel something other than this hollow ache. I hated them. I hated myself. I hated the universe for letting this happen. But anger, as it turns out, is just sadness wearing a mask. Once the fury burned itself out, the real pain began. The kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about love, about yourself, about whether you'll ever feel whole again. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I could still feel their arm around me, only to reach out and find cold, empty space. I tried all the usual coping mechanisms. I threw myself into work. I went out with friends. I downloaded every dating app imaginable, swiping through faces like they were trading cards, desperate to find someone who could erase the memory of them. But nothing worked. Because here's the truth they don't tell you about breakups. You're not just losing a person. You're losing a version of yourself. The self who was loved, who was chosen, who belonged. And learning to live without that version, that's the real heartbreak. There were moments, so many moments, when I thought I'd never make it. When the idea of waking up tomorrow, next week, Next year without them felt like an impossible mountain to climb. I'd sit on my couch, surrounded by evidence of a life that no longer existed, and wonder, is this how it ends? Is this all there is? But then, slowly, so slowly I almost didn't notice, something began to shift. It started with small things. A morning when I didn't immediately check my phone for their name. An afternoon when I laughed at a stupid meme and didn't feel guilty for enjoying it. A night when I fell asleep without replaying our last conversation in my head. I began to notice the world again. The way sunlight filtered through my curtains in the morning. The taste of coffee that wasn't shared with anyone. The sound of birds outside my window that I'd stopped hearing during those dark months. These tiny moments of presence became my lifelines. I started doing things I'd always wanted to do but never made time for. I took a pottery class. I learned to bake sourdough. I went on solo hikes where I could scream into the wind without anyone hearing. And with each new experience, I felt a little more like myself. Not the version that belonged to them, but a new version. One I was building from scratch. One day, about 6 months in, I was walking through that same grocery store. I passed the produce section where it all ended, and instead of feeling that familiar stab of pain, I felt nothing. Not emptiness, not relief, just neutrality. The memory was there, but it didn't own me anymore. That's when I realized something profound. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about reclaiming your narrative. It's about taking the pieces of what was broken and using them to build something stronger. The love we shared wasn't wasted. It taught me what I'm capable of feeling, what I'm willing to fight for, and what I absolutely won't tolerate. Today, a year later, I can finally say, this, I'm okay. Not I've moved on or I don't care anymore. Those are lies we tell ourselves to feel better. But okay. I wake up most days feeling hopeful. I have dreams that don't include them. I've made new memories that don't need to be compared to old ones. And here's what I've learned through all of this. Heartbreak is not a sign of weakness. It's proof you had the courage to love deeply. Loneliness isn't permanent. It's just the space between who you were and who you're becoming. Closure doesn't come from the other person. It comes from within, from deciding that your story doesn't end with their departure. You are not broken. You are in process. If you're going through this right now, if you're sitting on your floor surrounded by the pieces of a shattered life, please hear this. You will make it. It won't be quick. It won't be easy. There will be days when you think you can't take another step. But you will. Because somewhere inside you, there's a resilience you haven't even tapped into yet. A strength born from the very pain you think might destroy you. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. One where you get to decide who you are, what you want, and how you want to live. The love you lost. It's not gone. It's become part of you, shaping you into someone even more capable of loving yourself, first and foremost, and someday, maybe someone else. So if you've made it this far, if you've listened to my story and found pieces of your own in it, thank you. You're not alone. We're all just trying to figure this thing out, one broken heart at a time. If this resonated with you, if you found even one sentence that made you feel understood, please subscribe, because together, we can turn our heartbreaks into breakthroughs.